Bologna and their trophy drought, 51 years, comes to an end with a massive Coppa Italia victory over AC Milan. 1-0. Who would have thought Bologna grinding out a result? But it was a very mature performance from a very deserving side to win their first trophy in over half a century. What a game and what a night for those Bologna fans as they once again regain some silverware. Such a storied and historic club. And to be honest, in the last 2 or 3 years, one of the favourite clubs of mine in world football right now. They play great football. They deserve this victory. And we said it in the podcast. AC Milan and Bologna, one team deserves it, one team doesn't. And the team that deserved it actually got the trophy and ended, as I said, that massive drought the club has had. It was a fantastic performance for the Bologna side. And for me, a very mature performance from a Bologna side that, yes, are often the great entertainers. Yes, they play the front-footed football, the more entertaining football. They look to score, they look to be progressive on the ball. But this game here, Italiano, after 4 attempts to win a trophy, finally got his hands on some silverware. And it was because of the way he managed the game. People have criticised him in the past, the way he's gone about managing finals and managing games in the league. You can think back to this season where they've failed to convert on winning positions and drawing games and give away late goals. That Juventus game comes to mind. It comes to mind a lot of Serie A followers where they really threw it away to drop all 3 points there versus Juventus had earlier in the season. But this game here, once they got that opening goal, they managed the game, they sat in, they gave up possession and their normal attacking progressive style of football to play a little bit more pragmatic and to ensure they lifted that trophy come the end of the 90 minutes. It was as I said, an entertaining game from them, but also had the mixture of that mature style of football and a style of football which a club which wins trophies would employ. And I feel like it looked like the start of something very special here. We saw the prelude last season with the way they qualified for the Champions League, playing some great football in the Serie A. And we saw them compete in the Champions League this season, despite losing a few players. Great run in Serie A to be in and amongst the European spots come this season's end now, and then to secure European qualification through the Europa League in this Coppa Italia, they finally get a trophy. It's a 3-part story of hope, which is a long story to come, because a side like Bologna deserve to be at the top of Serie A and Italian football and competing on the European stage as well. And they've got some great players and a manager to really support that, which I'll get to towards the end of this wrap-up here. A quick run through the game, just a few key moments in the start of the game and through the game as a whole. Jimenez had the first chance of the game, putting his effort wide in the 4th minute. Milan had an okay start. It was all blow for blow at the start, back and forth type game. But to be honest, I think Milan had the better of the chances early on. Mike Maignan had to make a massive save. A Miranda free kick whipped in, touched by Santiago Castro in the end to direct it onto goal. Maignan had to wait late to make a reactionary save to keep the ball out the net in the 8th minute there. Remy Freuler having a shot blocked inside the box following that moment in time. And then the big moment for me in the game, a real defining moment early in the game. Nerves are high, momentum can swing in either direction. Skorupski with a triple save in the 10th minute there. Ball comes into the box, deflects off, I think it was Sam Berkema in the end. Jovic also gets a touch on it as well from the Jimenez ball into the box. Repetitive saves from Skorupski to keep the ball at the back of the net, and real heroic effort there just to make sure that ball never crossed the line and keep the game at 0-0 in that 10th minute there, keeping Bologna's belief to that point in time. And Emil Holm headed probably the next notable chance in the 43rd minute, however, straight at the keeper and easily saved by Mike Maignan. Going into half-time, 0-0. So a few half chances here and there, but the game was really came to light in the first 10 minutes where chances were plenty. It was more end-to-end and much more progressive. But we came out of the half-time break and the magic moment came in the 53rd minute. Dan N'Doye, the man who's been injured, the man who has really failed to break the shackles in the last few seasons for Bologna, finally got that magical moment for this club, skipping past a few defenders once the ball landed at his feet, finally got enough space to produce the shot, powerful enough to beat Mike Maignan and make the game 1-0 in the 53rd minute. A magical moment for the club, but also for this player as well. We'll get into him in a little bit, but a player that has had so much potential, someone very aesthetically pleasing in terms of the footballer. He's very good to watch and creates a lot of moments, but never really has had the output. And it's now 9 goals in the season in all competitions for Dan Ndoye this season. A massive step up. I think that's the combination of his last 4 seasons' goals combined into this season here. So he's really stepped up. He's finally taken that next step to not just being the flair player and the spark player, but also the player that can convert and be that finisher, and is showing us what is close to, I feel like, his complete product. The ultimate versatile player, can play a little bit more centrally, can drift out wide, has got the pace, has got the skill, but also now the ability in front of goal to go and convert and finish off those chances. So a magic moment for him, a magic moment for the club. After that point in time, Milan, maybe 2 or 3 half chances, a few long shots and efforts in and around the box that were blocked or never really looked like finding the back of the net. It was a much more robust defensive performance, as I said, more pragmatic from Bologna after they scored in the 53rd minute. And to be honest, the best chance of the game probably came right at the end. Jens Odgaard taking the team on by himself with an individual solo dribbling run. However, his effort was tame straight at the keeper in the 94th minute. But after 5 minutes of stoppage time, 51 years of pain was ended. Bologna crowned Coppa Italia champions. And importantly, I guess looking forward, it confirms Europa League football for this side. And considering how condensed that European race is in Serie A right now, it is a massive moment for the club. Trophy, but also once again securing European football for next season. And we know under this modern ruling with PSR and the financial restrictions and the ability to draw in players as well into a club like Bologna, you need European football. You need that calling card, and you need reward for effort. This side has competed so well. As I said, they play some of the best football in world football. I touched on them at the same point last season where I just praised them for being a great football side that play great football, that attractive, they have a different way of going about it, but it worked. And that was under former manager Thiago Motta. That was with Calafiori. That was with Joshua Zertsky, a fit Lewis Ferguson as well. All 4 or 5 of those key figures all missing this season. Ferguson with the injury repeatedly out. Dan Ndoye missing key periods with the injury as well. Obviously Calafiori at Arsenal. Joshua Zertsky at Manchester United. And also, I guess the big loss is Thiago Motta and his philosophy and his style of football going to Juventus. And obviously that didn't end too well. But I said it coming into the start of the season on the podcast. I think you can go all the way back to the start of the season. I said Italiano was the man for me. I think he was playing the great football with Fiorentina. Obviously 2 Conference League finals, which he lost both. But it was that style of football, attacking, free-flowing, player endorsing almost, that I thought would fit Bologna to a T with the play group they had, with the confidence they had from last season. And look, he joined there and he's gone and replicated that with Bologna this season, and he's got the reward at last. As I said, he's gone to 4 finals, including those 2 Conference League finals, a Coppa Italia final with Fiorentina as well, and then a prior Serie B final, but never has converted on that, and finally he has. That's a massive step for Italiano, who's a well-respected manager in Italy, but to finally get that trophy against your name, that is a big step. That is a confidence booster, and I guess reinforces the quality this manager has. He is a top-tier manager that's not going to be talked about much. Maybe a little bit more come the summer now that he's got the trophy under his belt. But what a season he's had with Bologna. They're sitting in 7th right now, but only 2 points off 4th place. And now with 2 games to go, the confidence of this Coppa Italia victory, they'll be trying to get Champions League football. Champions League football and a trophy from the season following such a great turnaround in players and identity shift and key personnel being injured and absent, and your whole style of football and structure being torn away from you is very impressive. They've managed Champions League football. Some fantastic nights come the last 3 match days. They've gotten a trophy in the Coppa Italia, which they quite rightly deserved and played and earned this season through their style of football. And they've gone throughout the season playing great football and potentially getting Champions League football through league qualification. It's been, all in all, such a success under Italiano. The ultimate A+, the ultimate tick, in his box here is the way he's got this club, maybe shifted them across a track or 2, or got them on a different lane on a highway, but they're still going the same direction, and that is to continued success and long-term success. Thiago Motta laid the foundations with the style of football, possession, ball retention, attractive attacking style of football. It became the same sort of thing under Italiano, but with a full-back system and with some new players being central, that Dan Ndoye, Santiago Castro in there as well, instead of the likes of Joshua Zertsky. Obviously, Riccardo Orsolini and the player he is also a key this season as well. But even players like Skorupski in goal has been fantastic this season. Had his memorable moment in this game, even with that triple save in the first half. Miranda's all touching him in this game, had probably a near man of the match performance with his consistent delivery, his ability in the ball to drive the side forward. And for me, Lukumi and Bergkamp are one of the most underrated centre-back combinations in the world. Very, very good on the ball. Lukumi never really loses those battles in the air, on the ground. And Sam Bergkamp, I don't think he's got a card this season. Has not picked up a yellow or red card all season. The ultimate ball-playing centre-half, the no-nonsense centre-half, and never makes mistakes. And as a combination, it's fantastic to watch. Look at some of the stats from this game here before we get into some of the key players. Both sides had 2 big chances. 11 shots to Bologna, 7 for Milan, 48% possession for Bologna. Gave away a little bit of that possession to try and maintain the result. And I think for me, the key point was probably the back four. Played their best game of the season as a whole group in this game here. And what a time to do it. As I said, they went more pragmatic. They went a little bit more defensive after they scored that goal. And the back four held up. This back four has been so used to playing out from the back, keeping the high line, maintaining possession, and often getting turned over on the counter-attack. Bologna get counter-attacked a lot, and they can make mistakes playing out from the back a lot, and that's hurt them in games like against Atalanta, Juventus come to mind. These big games of the season where they needed to perform, it often let them down. But in this biggest game of their season, I guess their holy grail game in this one here, they went back a little bit into their shell and managed the game to get the result. And the back four, all in all, were just fantastic, winning battles, keeping it tight, denying real clear scoring opportunities for Milan, and it really showed. They, in the end, probably cruised the game after they scored that first goal. That's all down to that back four. And again, it screams maturity. It screams a side that's a winning side. And I think that was the one thing missing for me with Bologna. I love watching them play football. I love the way they go about it, their identity. But for teams to be successful, we see what Man City and Real Madrid obviously do is the prime example. You have to win ugly as well at times. Champion teams and winning teams that win a lot of trophies, they can win playing some fantastic football. But most importantly, when their back's against the wall, when they have to scrap it out, they know how to do that, and they can convert and win games by doing that. And that was the first time I've ever seen Bologna under Italiano show a bit of backbone, show a bit of grit and a bit of fight, and win ugly in different ways. And it was a really, really great sight to see for this side here. Big shout also to the midfield area. Remy Fraud and Ferguson back at their best. It's what we saw for them last season as a midfield combination. So good to see Lewis Ferguson back fit and playing in the centre of the park there. And then before we get into the key players, talking points for Milan now. It is a rough end to the season for them. Obviously, they won the Super Cup versus Inter Milan. They seem to have had the number of them all season this year. And I said on the podcast, if they win this trophy, the Coppa Italia, a domestic double, potentially they've continued to perform well in the league, a top half finish with a domestic double. It's a good rectifying situation considering how poor it was. But you lose this final now. Definitely no European football you'd expect now from Milan. Only one trophy was the Super Cup. It doesn't look very good. Conceição looking like on the way out. Ibrahimovic looking like he's on the way out. Probably deservingly so, because the squad they've put together is not good enough. It's a lot of makeshift pieces. It's a lot of wages thrown at a few different players. It's not a squad. It's not a team. And I keep saying, you have to look across the hallway to your counterparts in Inter Milan to see how you build a team, how you build a squad. You get a manager in with a certain identity and you back him in all the way. You get him players he wants to play with. You don't have to spend the big bucks. You find players that will suit the system. Acerbi, Arnautovic, Zielinski, Mkhitaryan, Hakan Çalhanoğlu. Prime examples of all players that are below 20 million euros in cost, in value for those players there. Zalewski coming on loan to Inter Milan. All those players there, all on cheap fees, but have the system in mind first. You don't have to buy the superstars. You don't have to go out and buy Jimenez. Not saying he wasn't superb for them. Obviously, was massive in the recent game versus Bologna in the league. But you don't have to just go buy Jimenez and Reinders and Pulisic and Jovic and all these players and just put them together, because it doesn't work. And I think the biggest, symbol of what Milan have become is their left-hand channel. Rafael Leao and Teo Hernandez are two superb players in their best of days. 100 million 80 million euro type players plus. Rafael was considered a 100 million euro player plus just 2 or 3 years ago. But I labelled him, I think quite rightly so, as the most frustrating player in world football, because His best is superb. It is top tier. We haven't seen it though for 2.5 years because he is so scared of taking the game on. He is so negative. He is so in his own shell. He doesn't express himself. He's not consistent enough. He never shows us what he can do. And same is happening now with Teo Hernandez as well. We haven't seen that same Teo Hernandez for at least 15 months. The attacking fullback that whips balls into the box, can make those challenges, can keep tight defensively, but more importantly, he can get dangerous balls into the area. He can deliver going forward. He's the ultimate two-way fullback. But right now, it's the other hallway where DeMarco, he's delivering that style of football, the two-way runner, the ability to deliver great balls in the box but be tight defensively. That left-hand side is symbolic of, I guess, the disease that is growing in this Milan side. That is negativity, poor performances, and a culture really dying. It is a team dying, a club dying, similar to Manchester United. I can pull so many parallels between these two sides here. Just hanging on of the odd good season. The club is rotten. You need to start afresh, new manager, new ideas, and new people upstairs making the right decisions. Zlatan Ibrahimovic, I think, has absolutely butchered this side. The decisions they've made, the players they've signed. Again, it's nothing against his players. There's some great individuals in this side here, but it doesn't work altogether on paper. Mike Maignan, I would expect to leave. Tijani Reinders, I'd expect to leave as well. I wouldn't be surprised if Rafa Leao just has to get out of there because he's not winning from this. Neither is the club. It's just such a toxic environment in Milan right now. They have to start afresh. But that's polar opposite to, obviously, Bologna, which is the focus of this video here. Quick touch on 3 players before we wrap up this video. Lewis Ferguson, as I said, back to his best, back being fit. Such a great sign to see. He was one of my favourite players from last season. I think I made it my favourite team of the season. He was in there in the centre of the park. A 7.1 match rating, 92% pass accuracy, 4-7 accurate long balls, 6 out of 8 drills won, 5 clearances and 2 tackles. Played slightly deeper in this game here, but did a great job alongside Remy Freuler in the midfield. Held it together, protected that back four, won the midfield battle, and ended up winning the war, which was winning that Coppa Italia trophy. Juan Miranda, very close to man of the match for me, 8 match rating, 2 interceptions, 3 tackles, 5 to 9 ground duels won with 2 key passes. One of the more consistent fullbacks in world football. Again, someone that's not very special in terms of he hasn't got any real game-changing type abilities to his game. He's not rapid. He's not the best deliverer of a pass, but he's not the worst deliverer of pass, probably one of the top 5 in Serie A. He's one of the better defenders. He might not be the quickest, but he's always in position. Just does everything right. Never makes mistakes. Symbolic of what this Bologna side has become. Quite attractive in the way they play their football, but limit their mistakes and they become a very, very good side and a very hard team to beat. And then obviously finally Dan Ndoye, probably man of the match for me, just because of the moment and the season he's had. Coming back from injury, the 7.7 match rating, got the goal, 100% dribble success rate, 3 key passes, 6-11 ground duels won. He was fouled 4 times in this game here. I think, talking about symbols of sides, Dan Ndoye is a symbol of the future for this Bologna side. A young player that's learning his role, getting to grips with what he needs to do. Again, so quick and dynamic, an X-Factor player that's developing that end product. 9 goals, I'm pretty sure, in all competitions this season. Came to life in the Euros, was a spark for his country in the Euros as well. He's put together a really, really solid sort of 14 months now, and it's something to build on. And I think, as I said, he is a symbol of the growth of this Bologna side. A player that has so much potential, finally starting to show it with his conversion in and around the box, the way he sets up other players, his build-up plays developing as well, and his passing has become so much more consistent. And that's just a sign of what Bologna is becoming, a more consistent, a more matured, a more put-together side, a more complete product. We're getting so close, I think, to top-tier Bologna. They obviously are missing a striker. Santiago Castro will not be the answer long-term. They need a proper centre-forward. I think they would love a little bit more midfield depth as well. But you've got Orsolini, Dan Ndoye, a new striker, another midfielder to go along with Remu Freuler and Lewis Ferguson. I love the back four. Skorupski in goal. That's a side that can compete. It might not beat Inter or Napoli maybe going forward, but that can be the third team. They can be a team competitive in the Europa League or the Champions League, wherever they are next season in Europe. But that is a dangerous team going forward. And this Bologna side keeps making smart signings and they keep backing the right man in. Italiano is the right man to take this side forward. And you're seeing, I guess, they're reaping the rewards because of that. Their first trophy in 51 years. Well-deserved Bologna. Congratulations. I love this club. I love these fans. I love this side. I love this manager as well. And they've gained the rewards, which they quite rightly deserve. Let me know your thoughts, guys, in the comment section down below. What are your thoughts on Bologna? What are your thoughts on Milan after that Coppa Italia final? If you enjoyed the video, guys, smash the like on it, subscribe to the Players On channel, press that post notification bell. Hope you have a great day, guys. Until next time, I'll see you guys later.